Welcome, 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 everybody. I'm here with the amazing Neil Coughlan. I hope I say your name right.
Close
Neil,
enough.
welcome, welcome,
Thank you.
welcome to today's interview, showcase, and everything more. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
You're so welcome as well. I'm so excited to have you here. I would like to start asking you a little bit of a personal question. We're
Mhm.
here to talk business and the incredible results that you've been having. And I'd like to start though to give a little bit of an introduction of course, what you do, also how you got here from a personal and business perspective.
Yeah, sure. So what do I do? I change lives. I help people truly see, what they are worthy of in life. They're worthy of a healthy, successful, loving, abundant, and deeply fulfilling life. No one should ever feel that they have to settle. One phrase I never like hearing is "that'll do" or "this is okay," because okay isn't enough. We deserve the extraordinary, and that's why I love working with you. Um, who do I work with? My I don't want to call them clients, but the people I like to go on a journey with are people who have already made the decision to grow, um, to step up into their highest potential and to celebrate life to its fullest. And we're celebrating today, our connection. Um, Yet, sort of despite their ambition, they find themselves lost, unable to stay on the path or find the path that leads to their transformation. And my role in that comes from way back from when I started my working life in the military as a pathfinder. I'm literally there as the guide to help them with the process, illuminate the road ahead and to help them create, sort of lasting and meaningful change.
Beautiful. I want to say, knowing you from this maybe 1 month we've been together, I can say you're a very strong guide. You see the beauty in clients, like you say, you think they deserve the extraordinary, and you're very good in guiding them through that path with a lot of love. I know we looked at the archetypes, you're a romantic, I'm a romantic. So there is that client love. At the same time, you come from this very could I say challenging lifestyle that was the soldier's life. Like probably you were not cocooned in fluffy stuff when you were living that life. So to me, this is an extreme important asset that you then transfer to your clients. But I'd love to hear from you how you're using that strength that you had for life and maybe some of the experiences you had in that life that now makes you so good at what you do and why you're able to mix the loving, the caring, the nurturing, all of these beautiful things that you are with. I'm not gonna let you stray, from your highest self and
Yeah,
purpose and best.
yeah, yeah. I think it starts further back because my childhood was not the easiest starts. Like many people, I grew up in the 1970s. My father was, often on strike from work. My mum worked as a nurse doing night shifts because she got paid more doing night shifts. Myself and my siblings, we were latchkey kids. We were free to roam. Life was tough, but within that hardship, we found sort of adventure, freedom, and an unshakable sort of resilience. And as I sort of to get older, I decided that I was really determined to carve out a different future from what I saw. I didn't just want to go and work on the production line and just, be in that box, that societal sort of pressure and expectation that's put on. So there wasn't a huge amount of opportunity when I was growing up. So nobody I knew had joined the military, nobody from my family, none of my close friends. And I took myself off to the careers office and found myself signing up to join the military. And that sort of, I did 16 years in the army, and that was constantly learning. It was about, discipline, but self-discipline, leadership, and what I could truly do, rather than sort of being held back. I was encouraged. There's more, there's more, there's more, and that breeds self-belief, confidence, capable and courageous men from boys, basically. And the army gave me a structure, the knowledge, and the belief in my own potential. And today I take all that learning, my experience, my hardships, my victories, and use it to help others. But unlike on the battlefield, the fight I help my clients win is not against the external enemies as such. It's the inner battles, the war against the self-doubt, societal pressures, and limiting beliefs, really. And I help people stop fighting against themselves and start fighting for themselves. To reclaim their power, to find their own inner warrior, if you like, and to finally live and not just endure.
Beautiful, beautiful. And do you find yourself drawing a lot from that experience in the military?
Huge amounts, absolutely huge amounts. The people who've never been in the military think that it is very do this, do that, do the other. It's not like that at all. Yes, there is discipline. Yes, there are skill sets that you need to do and need to have, but it's about reliability and trust. The military sort of recruits for attitude and then train the skills. And I think if you've got the right attitude, you can learn any skill. And, working with you is about learning new skills. You've got to have the right attitude to engage and to invest in yourself and believe and reap the rewards from that. And, even within the short time that we've been working together, the abundance that has come my way has been jaw-dropping. Little example. I was away at the weekend, and Saturday morning breakfast at a hotel, really nice hotel, by the way. There were two chaps that were chatting away, and they were talking about an event that they were going to run, a business event that we're going to run. There was a few things that they were saying, and I just couldn't help myself. And I ended up having a 15, 20-minute conversation with them. And they've asked me to go and speak at their event. Yeah, absolutely. It's a transformational IT in business. It's not my area of expertise at all, but they were so enamored with the few things that I was saying, just the disciplines that I put into daily life. I do a thing called problem, cause, solution, benefit. I just rattle that out to them, and they were like, "Oh, write that down." And both connected with me, both connected on LinkedIn. We've been emailing back into some ideas. They have said, we don't know what we're going to do together, but we will collaborate. We will collaborate. And that is about energy, passion, drive. That I've just come back from a trip to Athens with an organization over there. And they put me on a plane, put me in a hotel. Um, we had 3 days worth of workshops, which was all paid for. But out of the back of that has come a 6 month contract. Now it's 10 hours, sorry, 10 days, 10 days a month. Now that covers all my expenses and some, and some. So then that gives me freedom of time. We talk about the three things that we all desire: freedom, financial freedom, geographic freedom, work from wherever I want to work from, and time freedom, time to do the things that I actually want to do with the people that I want to do them with. And that abundance comes, it just keeps coming and coming. Whether it's financial abundance, whether it's actually focusing on the things that bring in the financial gain rather than procrastinating. And then the things that I'm setting up, I'm going to Austria next week and I'm skiing, right? I haven't skied for a number of years, but I've just gone, no, I'm going skiing. Now I've got some meetings that I need to do online, but they're online, so it doesn't matter where I do them from. So I'm going to do them from a fabulous location and I'm going to celebrate and I'm going to enjoy. And I'm really just overwhelmed and hugely grateful for the short time that we've spent together, because the energy that I get from you, I just lap it up. And then I can then regurgitate that out to other people and it just comes back in waves. Just comes back in waves, and it's I'm going to be sad at the point where we actually don't need each other as a coach and a client, but I just hope that we will stay connected, because it's just so beautiful, just so lovely. I love it. I really do love it. Really do love it.
Beautiful, beautiful. I'm having an emotional moment. So let's rewind a bit, Neil, because I hear a lot of people, when you start to offering them money-oriented solution, when you start to ask them for quite a chunk investment as well in terms of finances, and not so much the time, because I think we're very good in achieving maximum results in minimum time. But the investment is quite important. So people are often not sure of, what am I getting out? What do I even need you? And so I think your experience, and just for full disclosure for people watching, we didn't know each other. Nobody recommended to each other. I reached out to you cold calling, basically saying, there was something about your website that really resonated with me about offering the best version to people. So that's important to me, because I speak in these terms. And if I see somebody there, but I told you so. At the moment, I looked at your sales page and services, and I felt there's so much more than this person can achieve, again, from a loving perspective. And I thought I'd be the right person to guide you through that. But that, of course, was my thing. So could you explain to people a little bit why you were in a good place to start with?
Mm.
Didn't know me. I show up and basically I make you an offer. I remember you telling me, I think you're not going to offer me snake oil, but you didn't know. I could have been snake oil. Could you explain a little bit for people that are not so familiar with money breakthrough coaching and how it is to work on this level? How was that process of decision for you to say, you know what, I'm doing this? And you said it so quickly and passionately that's why you're having the results that you have.
I think, yeah, we didn't know each other, and it's a totally new relationship for me, and an amazing one. I always thought I knew my worth. I went through a formal coaching program, which was really, really good, really helpful. And one of the exercises on there was, okay, so what are you going to charge as a coach? And I was quite shocked at how low monetary value people put on themselves. And I sort of put a figure out there of an hourly rate, if you like. Um, and then I sort of worked out, well, if I want to achieve what I want to achieve, then the packages that I have are not actually going to deliver that. And I was trying to figure out a way of moving away from what I'd set out as my goal, if you like, and how to really maximize, those three freedoms: time, geography, and financial. And hey presto, you popped into my inbox. So, and I said to you when we started, I'm not woo woo. I'm not woo woo. Don't believe in any of that. However, you dropped into my inbox at the time where I was thinking, this, I've got to do something different. I've got to do something different if I'm going to reach my goals. And I get 3, 4, 5 messages a day from people saying to me, hey, I can get you 20 I can get you 20 potential clients. I can get you this. I can get you that. I can get you the other. And I speak to a few people, and they sell me this methodology without actually finding out who I am and what I want. And you spent the first half hour, 45 minutes, just asking me questions about what does success look like for me? Where do you want to be? And then saying that there's more there. You've not unlocked this, or it was challenging, but in a very caring way. It was very much about I absolutely love what you're doing. I think there's more potential. And here's some support, here's some advice. And by the way, we could take it so much further. And it really got me thinking, what is it that I actually want? And how am I going to get there? And I'm talking about being a pathfinder for other people. But then I'm going, I don't have all the answers. I I I can't find my own path. I can highlight the path for other people, but I can't stay on my path because I was sitting in a coffee shop, coaching somebody, and was getting as much tea and as much cake as I could consume in an hour, 2 hours. And I love my tea, as you know, but I was getting a little porky from all the cake, which was lovely. Um, but it certainly wasn't paying the bank manager. And we had a conversation about this, and I'd helped this lady along the way, and she made some real breakthroughs. And you sort of just planted the seed about, okay, time now to change that relationship. And this is where the abundance comes in. Having and I felt an affinity to this lady, and I felt as if, asking her for a fee would be, detrimental, would be tough, would be, it's just embarrassing. We're terrible about talking about money, particularly as Brits, and then I sat down and I said, look, we've done X, Y, Z. You've done marvelous in where you've gotten to, some great breakthroughs. But I'm going to have to cut it there because I've got to invest time in myself and fee paying clients and things like that. And she actually said, you're not breaking up with me, are you? And I went, well, yeah. And it was, okay, what do you charge? And I was like, and on, and then I went into, and this is where I think the problem lies, is that I took on board all this lady's circumstances, the picture I'd painted. None of this was true, none of this was fact, but I painted this picture in my own mind of what she could and what she couldn't afford, which wasn't a fact. I didn't test that. So I just blurted out a number. And she said, okay, that's fine, great. Now she's a fee paying client, which is fantastic. But one of the things that you talked to me about was leaving money on the table. I don't know what investment she is prepared to make. I can't make that assumption. I can't put that out there for her to pick up on. I'm not valuing myself. I'm retracting because I maybe feel embarrassed or some ick, as the kids of today might say, around mentioning money. But when we actually talked about it, you and I, it was just before I went to Athens. So, okay, this is a corporate, and hopefully got a little bit more money. But I took the principles away that we discussed, and when they sort of said, "Look, this is absolutely fantastic. This is what we want to do," I put some feelers out around costs and what have you. But I rewrote the sort of the plan, the long term plan before I went, and I just put some ridiculous figures in there, and I just passed it across to them, and they didn't bat an eyelid. To the extent of, I mean, and this is significant amounts of money if we get it right. But we're doing a pilot project, if you like, for 6 months, which is fantastic. And if we get that right between us, this could be game changing. And from one simple, challenging conversation with you about, well, just asking me why, and then pushing gently, 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 and then having the self-belief and going, well, okay. And what I'm finding is not the fact that I charge significant amounts of money, depending on where your perspective comes from, but by not being fearful of that aspect, more people are coming towards me. So I don't know whether it's power of attraction or whatever it may well be, but it just enables me to feel confident to put a figure out there. Now, if people balk at that, okay, I can sort of say, okay, well, the service isn't for you. You're not ready. You're not prepared to invest. All those sorts of things. Rather than me looking at a bank account and going, oh God, how do I pay the mortgage? How do I do this? How do I do that? I've got that covered now. So now I'm much more freer to be able to go, okay, I'm coming at this from a totally different view. And it's like, well, why don't I just triple the price of that and see what happens? And guess what? People still come towards you. And I don't need to do as much. So I'm getting the freedom of time. I'm getting the financial freedom. And I'm off to Austria next week. And I've got 3 meetings that I will run whilst I'm there, as long as I remember to get off the lift and back to the chalet.
This is a truly celebration. So, Neil, would you say you would have had all of these incredible results had you not said yes to that offer?
No, 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 not a shadow of a doubt. I mean, without trying to sort of lay it on too thick, I was doing okay. And one of the expressions that I don't like is "it's okay." I just didn't have the time to sit and reflect. I didn't have the time to figure out which was the way to go. And you dropped into my inbox, having seen something that I'd posted or whatever it was, And immediately I thought, okay, this is worth investigating. Even if it is snake oil, at least I can sort of dismiss it, but I'm not going to dismiss it without having a conversation with you. And I think within, well, it was less than an hour, I was okay, how do we do this? Because I could feel the energy, I could feel the synergy, and my mind was just firing with solutions. And sometimes I use the analogy of a football team. You can have the best, you can pay, £100 million for the best striker in the world. But if you don't feed them the ball in the right way, in the right place, at the right time, they're worthless. They've got all the talent, they've got all the skill, they've done all the hard work. It's now about putting the ball in the back of the net. And what I love about working with you is you just put the ball on a spot for me just to smash it in the back of the net. And that's what's going on. I'm scoring hat tricks every game.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful. So even though it's not a woo conversation, can we go back to, so we met for our first money making VIP day.
Yeah.
I think you had no idea what to expect. Am I correct?
Yeah.
But I did say to you, we're going to identify where you're leaving money on the table.
Mm-hmm.
So could you also recall what happened in that money VIP day within the first 30 minutes?
Oh, it feels like such a long time ago, but I think for me there was it was a conversation that I think we're taught not to have.
Oh,
Right. So we're taught not to speak about money. We're taught to be humble. And it was such a calming, easy, pleasant, caring conversation that the just the points that you made, and I've got my notes here. I've got my, I looked through them earlier on, and you know, I can now see myself being the mentor and guide to help others achieve their best life whilst receiving true financial value for my time and insight and experience. There you go. That's what. There you go. I mean, you won't be able to read my handwriting, but there it is. There's the note, and that, just that one mantra. If we want to go woo woo, just that one mantra that I have on my desk every day, open at that page, and then working through it was worth the money, was worth the investment. Just that one thing,
yeah.
because it keeps coming back to that all the time. What do I want to do? I want to be seen. I want to see myself. I want to know myself as that mentor and that guide, because that's what I've done all my life. Whilst getting remunerated for it, not giving it away for free. And all the time and energy and the learning that I've gone through, you've just taken it and gone, okay, here we are. Let's laser focus. Let's pinpoint down on where you can make that difference to get that inner joy, but also nourish the body, keep the roof over the head. Those things, the things that I want to do, want to achieve, because money is an enabler. Okay, it's not going to solve everybody's problems, but it's an enabler. And I am now more able, within 4 weeks, 5 weeks, I am now more able to say, I'm going to Austria.
And
I
taking
mean,
your
you've paid for that trip. That's the beauty of it, is I go, it's a tangible return on the investment straight away. I love skiing. My history. I had a stroke. My stance and balance was well, I couldn't even crawl. And I took myself off to be a ski instructor, after 3 months because, it's all about stance and balance. And I love the mountains, love the mountains. Now I've been working so hard for 2 years, 3 years, going from corporate life, um, being feeling dejected, downtrodden, not seen, not heard, to setting up my own business, to running lots of different things, and not really having the focus. Lots of energy, but not really monetizing anything to a great extent. So the conversation we had just took all of that energy and all that desire and all that will and all that experience and just went, okay, let's take a moment. Let's take a moment. Let's just really think about that. Let's really picture what it is. Sketch it out. Make sure there are no barriers there. And then we'll just move forward. And that for me was the inspiration. I was nervous on the way in. I will admit, I was nervous. I go, what am I doing? God, it's a waste of a day. It's a waste of a ton of money. Oh, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? Oh, you always get yourself into these scrapes. All that self-doubt, all the self-doubt, all the little noises and whatever else. I could have run home from London, not got the train.
Yeah, love that. And I'm glad you mentioned that because, again, when people invest a certain amount of monetary means, there is that nervousness. But
Yeah,
that's where the difference, I say, clients always get results with me. I choose the clients well, like you, right? So if a client is nervous, the one we're going to have the major breakthroughs are the one who said, I'm scared, I'm doing this. And those, because it's so easy to say, I'm so scared, it's not the right time, it's not meant to be, I'm not about the money, and they pull back. And it's just happened that if I see them 6 months, a year later, they're still at that level, as
yeah.
opposed to people like you, not even a month in, you are in this new place, like you said, pay for your skiing holiday, which I'm very happy to. And and again, I like you to speak to the fact that there is a bit of magic because some of your messages, out of the blue, this happen, out of the blue, this get offered to me, out of the blue, like, this conversation in Austria is like, right, there is a bit of out of the blue magic that happens. And also speak to the fact that I really want you to be successful. Like, yes, I'm paid for it, but it's above and beyond my pay rate, right? It's I want you to, and I'm celebrating with you. Every penny you make, it feels like it's 100 penny in my bank account. Does resonate?
I think there was an expression that you used. There's opportunity all around. I think what you do is you help open, my eyes, other people's eyes, um, and having that. I think it's. I go back to the military. Unfortunately, everything comes from the military for me.
That's
But
good.
as a young boy, walking through the gates for the first time, not knowing what to expect, not understanding what was expected of me. Um, but they'd obviously seen something, and then they instill the self-belief, the confidence, the ability to stand up, to put your shoulders back, to put your chin up, to stand tall. And I'm 5'7", so standing tall for me is quite difficult. But you did exactly the same. You took that nervous, slightly wary, I won't say timid because I don't think I'm timid, but slightly wary individual. And when I see you have the right attitude, maybe not the right skills. And I think that's where the magic comes in, is that once you learn or you can see how, and I'll use the word trick. It's not a trick, but with magic and the trick, what the essence of it is. Once you understand that, because we've all got all the ingredients. We just don't mix them. We just don't mix them well enough together to make this, this delicious, meal or whatever you want to call it. And I think stepping into the unknown is always going to raise doubts and fears. It's how we operate as human beings, the fear of the unknown. Now, I thought to myself, it's either going to be an expensive day out in London, or it's going to be magical and will help me evolve into that vision that I've always had for a long time. And I will freely admit, I came away from that high on energy, absolutely exhausted, because there was just an abundance of possibilities. And I will freely admit, I wanted to rush ahead. And what I loved about what you do is you sort of bring it back down. Okay, let's just settle. Let's just settle. Let's just bask in what we've done. Let's understand what we've done, and let's move forward in a structured, which I like, obviously, in a structured and really calm and beautiful way. The big thing that I really adore is when I tell you something and you're going, why are you not celebrating? Why are you not celebrating? We're going to celebrate. And sending me off to go and get an expensive tea or whatever else, as tea is my lifeblood, but sending me off, send me a picture, send me a picture. You've got to send me a picture. And I'm like, okay, okay. But it's having that cheerleader, it's having that coach, to help you see and help you move forward.
Beautiful. And which brings me to the topic of there are many coaches out there, there are many healers out there. How do you feel I'm different?
Oh, wow. How long we got? Um, Lots of people have energy, but I don't believe that people have. There's lots of people that pretend to have the joy, pretend to have the insights, pretend to have the real pleasure when a client makes a breakthrough. I'm almost looking at you going, I've had the aha moment, and you're dancing.
I'm proud.
And I truly believe that that's where the synergy comes in, because when I see my clients making a breakthrough and the penny drops or whatever you want to call it, it's such a joyous occasion. It's such a joyful thing, and then getting paid for it is great. I come back to when you said about a penny that I make is like 100 pennies for you. I'm the same with my clients. So having somebody like you to do that is fantastic. And no disrespect to, lots and lots and lots of coaches. Lots of people think they can coach. Lots of people think that they can do this. Lots of people think it's easy money. Everybody needs a coach. I absolutely, absolutely agree with that. But people who realize that maybe going down the coaching route, and whether that be wealth coach like yourself or somebody like me who is more orientated towards working with businesses and salespeople particularly, that's my niche. And I do think there's a lot of people that have tried so much more. They may well be the go-to person, with their friends and family, and think, oh, I can do this, I can monetize this. It's not that easy. And that's where I think you're different, is you deliver. And you deliver quickly. This is not, oh, we'll see in 12 months' time. This is instant. It's like the best instant coffee, that some barista has lovingly roasted the beans, etc., etc. You get all the aroma, all the taste, all the flavor. Pour the water. There you go. That's the thing. It's bang. And
Beautiful.
and you know, the investment that I've made in not only financial but also time has been repaid
And
out
we're
of one
just at
gig,
the beginning. We're
out of
just
out of one gig, out of one gig. And that's where the difference comes. That's where the difference comes, is that you say you'll deliver and you deliver. And that's so very, very, very rare these days. So very rare.
Yeah, thank you. And I'm going to take advantage of you to describe a little bit of a lot of people see me either very fairy-like, and Alex is so woo-woo, and talks about the energy, but they cannot see that practical, like you say, I'm going to deliver. But if people are in this, nah, she's too woo-woo, uh, right? Can you maybe talk about that? Because
Yeah,
with
so you know me,
10%,
I am not a tree hugging, um, rescue dog stroking um individual at all. My skin is like a rhinoceros's. And when we connected, I think I keep repeating to you, I'm not woo woo, I'm not woo woo. Um, and I think, that's the essence of who you are. You have an energy and a love for all things, which just comes across in buckets full. That would normally sort of push me away. However, combining that energy and that essence that you have with real practical, really honed conversations, experience, practicality is a beautiful combination, because we can't be all strict disciplined, if you like. There's got to be some fun. There's got to be some elements of joy. There's got to be some elements of enjoying nature, whatever it may well be. Um, and you have allowed me, you've given me permission to sit back and actually appreciate, rather than working 20 hours a day.
oh,
And for that, I will always be truly grateful. So if people look at you and make a snap judgment, that's on them.
mm.
That's on them. Okay. Um, People look at me and think, if they listen to me for 5 minutes, they might think, oh God, he's a bit harsh, he's a bit direct, he's this, he's that, and the other. I'm a pussycat,
Yeah.
absolute pussycat, right? Um, I will say to people, due to my military experience, due to my childhood and everything else, you can stab me through the hand with a knife and I won't feel any pain, but tell me you love me and then leave me, then I'll be a crumbling mess. And that's where I sort of build up this, I'm not woo-woo. Right, I'm not woo-woo because I don't want to let it in.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
what you've been able to do in a really gentle, caring way is just point out the stars, the moon, the grass, the clouds, and the whole point of this journey, the whole point of going on this, um, monetizing what I do, getting financial worth out of what I do, is to actually enjoy, is to actually take the time to breathe, to see, to hear. And that's what I love, is the combination. There's enough woo woo, there's enough magic. But as every magician will tell you, there's a lot of hard work and there's a lot of practice behind it.
Yes, yes. Thank you, Neil. I want to come back to one of the things you touched upon. which is again coming out of one of our interaction within the realm of being that guide for people in life. You discovered after one conversation that really sales and again upping that price tag to sales was your strength, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Can you talk about that as well for people that think, oh, I'm just going to go and see Neil if I've got issues with my lifestyle? Or no, 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 no. We're talking business here, right?
yeah,
Can
yeah.
you explain how, yes, you're a life coach and yes, you're guiding them, but sales and working with companies is it's your magic, really.
So um, what I've done is always build teams, you know, for a purpose. Within the military, there is always a target, a mission, which is defined. We define what the goal is. Your mission is bam, 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 bam. And we repeat it. Your mission is bam, 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 bam. And then we go through a process of, okay, how are we going to get there? How are we going to do this? What resources do we have? What time scale do we have? And having stepped out of the military and then gone into sort of corporate world, particularly into the security space, cyber security, physical security, those sorts of things. Those are where the skill sets were. Um, Cybersecurity particularly deals with lots of, we talk about ransomware, attacks, attack surfaces, the kill chain. If you look that up, that all comes from the military, but it's how to, recognize, reconnaissance, all that kind of stuff. So it just fitted. So I I'm an okay sales guy. But what I'm really good at doing is taking away the barriers to why people are in sales and what they want to achieve and how to achieve it. So my life coaching is all around having the vision. What do you want? Why do you want it? And what are you prepared to do and what are you prepared or not do in order to get there? So the 3 days that I spent in Athens, I'll give you an example. That is around them breaking into the Northern European market. And
Oh, I think we lost Neil for a sec. Maybe a bit longer. We're going to wait for Neil to come back. This would be the time where we go for advertising.